Okay, Unit 4, Lesson 5 deals with finding X and Y intercepts. Okay, and what we want to be able to do is find the X-intercept as well as the Y-intercept from either an equation or a graph. So similar to yesterday, all right, when we were checking solutions from equations and graphs, all right, now we're looking for intercepts. Okay, and very important here, we want to be able to write them as ordered pairs. Okay, so that's something we have to learn how to do. All right, so when we look at our intercepts, okay, the x-intercept, all right, is the point where the line crosses the x-axis, okay, and I want you to write this next to this, all right. The x-axis is the horizontal axis, all right, the one that looks like this, okay. The y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Alright, and just like the other one, we're going to write this. This is vertical. And the lines go up and down. Alright, as I've said many times before, if you do not have this on your notes, you are not getting credit for your homework. So make sure you have that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Our first thing is we're going to learn how to find the x and the y-intercept simply by looking at a graph. And this is going to be a lot easier than the other way, but you have to know how to do both. Alright, so looking at my first graph here, my x-intercept, again, is the point where the line crosses the x-axis. So right there. My y-intercept is the point where we cross the y-axis. Now in the first example, the ordered pairs are there already, so that's going to make this even easier. Alright, but what we want to say here is that my x-intercept, oops, sorry about that, the wrong color there. My x-intercept is the point try that again. My x-intercept is the point 6, 0. Notice it has an x value of a number and the y value will be 0 all the time. My y-intercept then, alright, has a x value of 0 and the y in this particular case is 6. Okay? So let's take a look at another example. Alright. Example 2 right here. I have, once again, my x-intercept is the point where we cross the x-axis and my y-intercept is the point where we cross the y-axis. I don't know where that extra dot came from. Let me erase that. Alright, now, it's just showing up all over the place. Here we go. Alright, my x-intercept, once again, is a point that has a y value of 0. And in this case, my x-intercept, notice, is in between 0 and 1 here. So it falls in between those two spots. Alright, so we're going to have to estimate. And my best estimate looks like it cuts through in the middle of 0 and 1. So we would call that a half. Alright, so again, sometimes we're going to have to estimate on this. The y-intercept, alright, again, is a point that has an x value of 0, and in this case, it crosses at -1. Okay, you can see that point clearly right there. Okay, we're only going to do one more in the video here, and then the other 3 will be saved for you tomorrow in class. Alright, so taking a look at the last one we're going to do here. Again, my x-intercept is the point where my line crosses the x-axis. My y-intercept is the point where my line crosses the y-axis. Alright, when I look at these points, my x-intercept is right there in the middle of that green dot. Alright, my y value is 0. My x value is slightly past 5. I'm not even sure that's halfway, so I'm going to call that 5 1/4. Again, all we're doing is estimating, alright, but clearly it is not 5. So if you were at 5 on a quiz, you're going to be losing points, alright, because it's clearly in between 5 and 6 somewhere. Okay, so you got to give a pretty good estimate when you do this. Okay, and then my y-intercept is a point that has a x value of 0. And the y value in this one is pretty clear. It's at 4. Okay? So again, sometimes it crosses nicely. Other times it's in the middle and you have to estimate. Alright? like I said, you're going to skip the bottom three. We're going to go right ahead into finding x and y intercepts from the equations themselves. Alright, so my x-intercept and my y-intercept. So this goes back to the idea of how these points are constructed. An x-intercept has an x value and y is 0. A y-intercept has a y value and the x is 0. So using that information, what I'm going to do is find the x-intercept first. So I'm going to make the y value 0. Alright, so what's going to happen here is if I put 0 in, 0 times 3 is just going to be 0. Alright, I'm going to show this on the first one. Alright, and all we have to do is simplify. 0 times anything is 0, so that's 2x equals 12. Divide, and I have x equals 6. So my first ordered pair is 6, 0. Alright, now like I said, the second one I'm going to show you a little bit of a shortcut here. So when I want to find my y-intercept, that means the x value is 0. So that means this whole piece is going to be 0 because 0 times 2 is 0. So what I have is negative 3y equal to 12. So I divide by negative 3, and I have y equals negative 4. And that's my other ordered pair, 0, negative 4. Okay? Let's take a look at that again. Looking at B, I want to find the x-intercept. The x-intercept, once again, is a point that has a y value of 0. So that means this is going to be 0, which means I'm going to basically ignore it. And then divide. So I end up with positive 2, and my x-intercept is the point 2, 0. Okay, going back now, my y-intercept is a point that has an x value of 0. So in this case it says y equals negative 8. I don't even have to do any additional solving there. I just say y equals negative 8. So I have two answers. Again, this is my x-intercept here and here. And this is my y-intercept here and here. Okay? We're going to do this one more time, and then we'll save the last one for you in class. So once again, x-intercept. We need to find the x. We're going to make the y 0. And then we solve. That gets me x equals 1, which tells me that my x-intercept is the point 1, 0. Alright? Now I need to find my y-intercept. My y-intercept happens when the x is 0. You'll be really careful with this one because it's not y equals 5. And the reason why it's not y equals 5 is because there is a negative in front of that y. So when I drop down here, I need to put a negative in front of that y, which means I have to divide by negative 1, and my y equals negative 5 in this case. So my y-intercept is the point 0, negative 5. Okay? So two things to keep in mind here as you go to do this. The first thing is that when you find the x and the y-intercept, they are ordered pairs, alright, which we said in the very beginning. And second thing you need to remember is when you're finding an intercept, the other value is 0. So when I find the x-intercept, the y is 0. When I find the y-intercept, the x is 0. See you in class.